Welcome back to How Original Podcast. We're out of the bunker.
We made it out of the bunker.
We're in a residential dwelling this time.
We're out in the world. The apocalypse didn't happen like they said it would.
2012 did not happen. The Mayans were a little off on their calculations.
Those Mayans, man.
So I'm trying to think. 2012 it was supposed to happen. It didn't. The new millennium, people were concerned that like all the computers would die. Obviously didn't happen.
Y2K, right?
Yeah,
right.
Y2K. When's the next supposed apocalypse?
Oh, you're right. Is there another one to... Well, I think there's a death clock, right?
A death clock.
Yes. I think there's like... there's something.
Are you talking about the atomic clock where
clock,
it's like
yeah.
minutes until midnight?
Yes.
Right, but that's not really a prophecy per se. That's more...
What's that
I
one all
need
about?
a prophecy. It predicts how close the world is to nuclear war.
Oh, okay.
So factoring in, tensions between nations.
Right.
Yeah.
That one.
Because I need ancient people chiseling a calendar, being like, this is when it's gonna happen. I need a prophecy.
Yes.
I don't want some fucking dork with a pencil telling me when the world's gonna end.
Yeah, you need
Get that shit out of here.
You need someone with some granite.
Yeah.
And
I need somebody who like hit the ancient DMT and was like, I saw some stuff.
Some granite and a dream.
Exactly.
You need someone.
Granted, as some of our listeners might know it as.
Well, do you think you can be that guy? Do you think you can predict the apocalypse? When do you feel the apocalypse is going to take place? The Tupacalypse. Tupacalypse now. I think that was a Tupac album, right?
3000.
3000. You think 3000? Oh.
Yeah, I think it's all going to go down in 3000.
I mean, I bet when the year 3000 do come around, people will have some ideations.
Right. Do you think there will be people in the year 3000?
Some dark ideations. I'd like to believe so. I'm
probably
generally an optimistic guy.
I don't know, like, is there a common consensus?
Andre 3000 and Big Boy still out here, dude.
Is there a common consensus for like the end point of humanity or our current evolution of humanity? Like, will people at a certain point no longer be recognizable to the form we take today?
Oh, like evolution?
Perhaps.
Evolutionary? Yeah.
Maybe in response to like the changing climate of the planet will need to evolve in some way.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I guess like actual genetic evolution, that's a little too short for genetic evolution, right? That's closer to like millions of years, right?
Probably, yeah. I think more zeros would need to pass by.
Right.
Yeah.
But
anyway, the stuff I think about
on a gloomy Friday.
Yeah.
Friday night's a wet one out there, dude. I'm craving fish.
I know you've been talking big game. We have committed to getting fish and chips after this.
Yeah, man.
It's so wet that like we could just grab a fish off the sidewalk. Like the entire contents of the ocean could be pouring into North Van.
Like it's that PTA movie. What's that? Magnolia. It just Magnolia's fish, dude. I wish it would Magnolia fish out here right now.
Yeah, it's a really depressing one.
It is. It's a gloomy. We had our Remembrance Day assembly today.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so choked up that I lost my poppy.
How do you lose it?
I can't believe the sheer disrespect I have for.
I know our veteran listeners
veterinarians
are not gonna be happy with you.
The veterinarians, dude.
Imagine you fought in World War II and then you watch a video podcast and you're like, oh, I regret fighting for people's freedoms. Fuck it, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, for sure.
Men used to go to war, as the memes go.
Yeah. We should have been gassed.
We've fallen from grace quite a ways.
Gas, boys, gas. You know that poem? Dulce decorum est.
How does that one go?
This teacher who was wearing a white poppy today for peace, the peace poppy.
A white poppy?
Yeah.
How long has this been going on for? I thought they were red.
Well,
not to be an old dad or anything.
Well, this is a bit of a silent protest on the part of this teacher because
oh boy,
yeah, it's a whole thing, dude.
Folks, buckle up.
It's a whole thing.
And this teacher's like, actually, my students don't even have to turn in assignments; they can just never show up, and I'll pass them.
He was quoting bars to me from this anti-war poem today, but
Well, I mean, wearing the poppy,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you're pro-war.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not like the red poppy is like, go get him. We should be in many more wars.
well, I think the idea is that they're against sort of the mythologizing of war. They feel that Remembrance Day is too much of a sort of a mythology.
Huh.
Creates a mythology.
I would have had some Don Cherry-esque things to say about this different colorway of poppy. What the fuck is this? A New Balance collab? Where the goddamn red poppy?
Yeah, well, they had the green one for a while. They had like
green. I don't think I've seen the green poppy.
Yeah,
are you sure that's not just for 420?
Well, I think that one was actually like an alternate version. It was like an alternate skin of poppy. Even when we were growing up, even before it was cool to have alternate skins, because I think they have like the trans poppy now, like the rainbow poppy and stuff. Let me see here.
You're gonna get me in trouble here if you keep talking about alternate poppies. I know, man. I'm gonna go off. Folks, wear the red poppy or don't wear a poppy, okay? Those are your two decisions, I think.
I'm your red poppy.
Yeah, there's anyway, how is the assembly and everything?
It was auspicious.
Auspicious.
Yeah. It was okay, I don't know what the green poppy stands for, but no, it was good. It was nice. Yeah, it was a nice choir performance by the choir. It was very epic, I always love a good choir,
Okay, so this is like students who are part of the choir.
Dude, I love a student choir. It's something so I don't know what it is. Something so old school, so like it just reminds me of like I don't know. I don't know.
Reminds you of a time before everyone wanted to be a podcaster or a DJ.
For sure.
Reminds you of the good old days.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Wait, what day is it today? The 9th.
The 10th.
10th. Yes. Oh, so tomorrow is Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all discombobulated.
You're all turning around.
Yeah.
You're like, is the war still going on? You're like one of those.
What year is it?
You're like one of those Vietnamese guys or the Japanese guys that thought the war was
on those little islands. Being like, it's decades later. I think we're still in it.
Yeah. I mean, we are fighting an invisible war. Would you say? Would you say that
against our listeners? We're fighting a war against Netflix. Although I will say it is very nice to do 2 weeks in a row of good movies.
Of excellent movies, dude.
Yeah,
Calibre.
Because we're doing Calibre, which I don't know if we announced that on the previous pod.
Calibre. No, I don't think so, because we came up with this idea like 3 days ago to do Calibre.
So what you're saying is I should have done something on social media to I can do it when we break.
Here's the thing. No one has seen this movie. I already know that.
Yeah.
No one listening right now has seen this movie. So this is safe listening. This is a safe space because you haven't seen it. You probably will never see it. Don't worry about it.
It's good. I mean,
you should watch it.
That people go see it.
You should definitely watch it. But
I found it very engrossing last night. I came back from actually watching another movie at Cinematheque. I saw Nowhere,
Doubleheader,
which is. We'll get into it later, but that was mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. Is that the sequel to Sofia Coppola's Somewhere?
No, this predated.
Oh, yeah,
we were nowhere, then we went somewhere. Yeah. The spiritual... that's my hottest take that they're connected.
Right.
So I came back, made a bit of dinner.
Wereverse.
Made a bit of dinner, and I'm like, I'll watch, the first 15 minutes, maybe this movie, then go to bed. I got so engrossed, I had to watch the whole thing.
Bro.
And I was very stressed.
Brother.
I was like almost pacing at one point.
Those city twats got themselves into some real...
Those fucking IPA drinkers.
Yeah, dude.
Life in the big city.
Life in the small city.
Yeah, and I think this movie, often in horror movies or thrillers, when you have people from the big city who go to a small town, for a vacation, for something, they're out of their element. It often is like a malicious sort of pagan small town thing. And I liked that this movie kind of primed you, with all the hints about like, oh, we're having this big festival. You got to be part of the festival.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, shit, are people going to be sacrificed? I was even thinking with the comment in the bar early on, like, oh, don't go for that woman. It's your own funeral. I was thinking like, is she going to be part of a ceremony or a ritual? Like, is somebody going to be sacrificed? No.
They did such a great job playing into like Well, I guess since like Midsummer came out.
Well, I was going to say more like Wicker Man.
Yeah,
there were movies before 2019
for sure.
but, no, we've definitely seen elements of like Midsummer type stuff.
Well, like I'm just saying the folk horror kind of resurgence with Midsummer. Although I'm not sure if this was made before, post, or pre Midsummer.
This predated it because this was 2018.
Okay, right.
This one was definitely under the radar. Like I've never heard of this before.
No,
but it was a really effective thriller, and I thought, I mean, a few small nitpicks, the end being one of them. I thought the final sequence of the movie wasn't especially strong.
Same, me too.
Do you want me, because I have some Reddit stuff to get into?
You want to just you just dive in?
Because as you know, I love it when people go at each other on Reddit.
Some would say you stoke some of those flames.
So I wasn't a part of this conversation. Okay. This was 5 years ago.
Okay.
And the original commenter here is deleted, so I wonder if they like hung themselves after they got roasted. Probably not. I mean, they probably just deleted their account. About the actual ending, where you're staring blankly at nothing. I thought it was a horrible way to end the movie. A better ending would have been 11 years later, fast forward, where Vaughn, SP ? He spelled it right. His son and his wife are out at a baseball game, or maybe they're picking up from school.
What kind of Scottish person goes to a baseball game?
Anyway, what happens? Great question. If we have any Scottish listeners, tap in. As far as I know, baseball is not something that the average Scottish person cares about at all.
No.
Or maybe they're picking up from school. Anyway, what happens next is a sniper rifle shot from the distance and dash, boom, dash. He loses his family. The next scene is a truck driving away, ... and away, ... back toward the mountains.
This is a real concept. This is a high concept post.
This should have been prefaced with concept in square brackets. 9 upvotes. Next person, 119 upvotes. That's a stupid fucking ending, LMAO. Next person, whose username is Dingus McGinty. I seriously can't believe he got any upvotes for that complete hackman idea. 28 upvotes. So I do love that this person took the time to share their absolutely idiotic end and then got torn apart in the comments.
So it's a beautiful thing to say.
Folks, the internet is a savage place. We're beyond Thunderdome. If you're going to post dumb shit.
Dude, it's the end. I didn't love the fluoride stare into the camera at the end. Dude, the INTJ stare into
somebody
the camera.
commented baseball, and presumably the original deleted account says, yes, you can Google it if you don't know what it is. Baseball emoji. The person who just said baseball says, doesn't sound like something a dad would do with his kid in Scotland. Deleted person, I was going for drama, not realism. This is like,
that should be Netflix's like tagline.
Going for drama, not realism. That should be Tubi's tagline.
Tubi,
yeah. This is like reminding me of the average caliber of discourse on the screenwriting subreddit. Have you ever been to that?
No.
Okay, no. You know what? It has occasionally been helpful when it's talking about like very technical formatting things, where it's like, oh, what would be the rule for showing this? Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Just stuff where it's not like actual plot and narrative. Stuff where it's like in a screenplay, how is this best represented?
Yeah.
Any of like the story ideas people have are generally pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. If they were great writers, they would not be spending their time on r/screenwriting talking about their ideas. They would just be writing them.
Totally. It sounds sounds like me blasting the inbox of UBC admissions yesterday morning with like an inundation of questions about my application.
Wait, what was the phrase? You're like, should I talk about my experiences?
Yeah, I was like, oh, because they said like you need a literary resume.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, should this be like an actual resume, or should I just list my or what is it? Oh, what was it?
Here, I have the phrasing.
Okay,
are you comfortable if I read it on pod?
I'm comfortable.
I mean, I say that like I'm going to make fun of you. I think it's perfectly reasonable.
Don't call me grotesque, dude. Just please, please.
You wrote this like a dead-eyed little freak, and we all know what you look like. No. Hello there. I had a few questions regarding the application guidelines for the MFA program. In regards to the portfolio specifications for fiction, is there a limit as to how many stories you can submit within the 20-page limit? For example, if I submitted 10, each being 2 pages, would that be acceptable? And if you are able to answer this, is there a preference for quantity of work submitted within the 20-page limit? My last query is in regards to the literary CV/resume. Should this be submitted in resume and cover letter format, or can this simply be an informal list of awards and experience with some description for each? Thanks so much for your help. All the best. And I think you spelled your name right. Well, allegedly. We're still uncertain on how George, last name redacted, should be spelled.
Yeah, it's still up in the air. Based on my Costco card, I spelled it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if we're going by Costco card, and that is illegal binding.
Let's put it this way.
I can use that to fly.
I'm in a writing program at SFU. I don't know how UBC does it, but they didn't make me present any sort of Costco certification because I'm not a Costco member.
Right.
You know.
No, I know.
Sometimes I see women on dating profiles and they're like,
you reek of being a non-Costco member.
I do love a Costco dog though.
Oh, good.
If I had easier access to a Costco dog on the North Shore, I'd be eating them all the time.
Okay, so let me ask you a very important question.
Yeah.
Polish or beef?
Beef.
Okay.
Polish?
Yeah, Polish.
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. Can you write that in granite and submit it to me? What if they're like, your resume has to be written on a granite tablet?
It has to look like an apocalypse prophecy.
Yeah.
The kind that you're looking for.
Now I'm thinking of the Schoolboy Q lyric, 2012 ain't really happened, so I guess it's back to trapping. Off his album Oxymoron, which is one
Tell that
one
to
of my
Roland.
favorite
Tell
rap
that to
albums.
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah.
2012 definitely happened.
Fuck, I watched that. It was not good.
Yeah, no, it was not good.
That was Mr. John Cusack in that, I believe.
Yes. And dare I say Mrs. Joan Cusack alongside him in that one? I might be tripping.
Haven't the faintest idea.
I feel like there was one movie where they intersected the Joan and John versus multiverse.
Wait, at the risk of sounding very stupid, what is their relation? Brother and sister?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a
were they playing romantic partners for each other? Or what
yeah, they were filming A Sis Loves Me.
Yeah.
The movie is called
Not many people know, but they actually did a whole episode of The Bang Bus.
Yeah. I think there was one movie where they intersected.
I feel like The Bang Bus is such a dated porn reference.
The Bang Bros. Oh, totally.
Like, I don't think,
Bang Bros.
I have no idea if they were even making new videos, if they even still exist as a company, but that's like early 2010s.
Yes. Yeah, what I wonder
these Zoomers, they don't even understand what the Bang Bus is. None of them have their driver's licenses yet.
Yeah. Or their bus license. I guess you need a bus license to drive a bang. Is it a regulation bus though, the Bang Bus, or is it just a big van, do you think?
I think it's good question. Does the Bang Bus ever just transport people as a bus? They pull up to the stop and they're like, there are only ugly people here, or only dudes. But like, okay, you can get on the bus. We're gonna make a few more stops.
Is it like a Harry Potter situation where like at night, like it's the night bus?
Right. Like after dark, it turns into freak mode.
Dude, the Bang night bus would be crazy. You know how in Harry Potter it just squished, it just became very, very narrow at one point to like squeeze into a tiny crevice. You remember that scene?
I guess I'm thinking about when you're approaching platform 9 3/4, how you just jump through the wall,
right.
Or maybe it squeezes you.
Yeah,
you're a little more clear on this. Than
you can clip through the wall at
you can no clip.
You can no clip. In platform 9 3/4, and then that reminds me of, I used to watch these speedruns, these IGN. So the developers of a video game reacting to speedrunners.
Man, I haven't gone on IGN in like a decade.
I know.
I used to all the time.
Me too. Yeah. Now I just watch Meat Eater, but and fucking pizza reviews. But and Takashi from Japan now. But finding out about the black experience in Japan.
What's it like to have tattoos in Japan? And then like a really attractive woman explains to him.
Yeah.
I think all the women he gets on that channel tend to be pretty good looking, right?
Totally.
What were you saying? IGN speedrun.
Oh yeah, I used to watch these devs react to speedruns of their own games, and then I remember like this Doom speedrun that someone did where they just clipped through the entire level and they were just running on top of the level the entire time until they got to like the end of the level and then they just jumped down. I wonder if you could do that with platform 9 3/4, where you could just go on top of the entire level.
I thought you were gonna say, I wonder if you can do that with a podcast. If you can somehow exit the map and just run to the end super quickly, because I'm like, we should try that. Why are we spending an hour and a half? We can do it in a minute.
Can you go into the column? Is what I'm saying. In the platform 9 3/4 column, maybe jump a certain way so that it launches you. Sometimes like there's weird like physics stuff within like the structure of the game. So maybe you can go into the column and like maybe jump at the right angle, and it would just teleport, like launch you up above the level. I don't know. Sometimes that can happen.
You're the one with the Harry Potter game, man. So
that's true, man. That's true. I didn't do platform 9 3/4, so it just got me straight into hoggies.
Right. Okay.
Straight into the hog.
So my question is also, in the speedrun community, is it viewed as dishonorable to exploit these glitches?
Yeah, you got a dishonorable discharge.
I was gonna say, because I imagine there has to be like a Bushido samurai code in the speedrun community.
No, there is. I think they welcome speedruns. Oh, sorry, they welcome exploiting.
Okay, interesting.
Those things. Yeah, I think that's how most. I mean, I'm sure there's a community of speedrunners, just like with anything. Like, there's no blanket thing. You know, when you say like the indigenous people of Canada. Well, which group are you talking about? Are you talking about the Haida? Are you talking about the the Squamish? Are you talking about the Musqueam?
These are perfect parallels.
Yeah,
right. No, I get the point.
You know, you could say blanket. You know, to say the speedrunners.
Yeah.
You know, which speedrunners are you talking about? I'm sure there's a community where they value the pure non-glitch experience of the game.
I was watching this video that popped up on my Instagram where it's like, I forget the game, but it's like you can make your own Mario maps and people like side scrolling. Yeah. And it was something like, oh, only a dozen people in the world have ever beaten this before. And it was like the most elaborate system of like the revolving fire chains and like jumps that you had to time to the millisecond. And it was incredible watching the person beat this. And I'm sitting on the toilet. I'm like, yeah, I could probably do that if I put my mind to it. There's so many things I say where I'm like, low-key, I could do that though.
For sure.
Like, no basis, I definitely couldn't. But in my mind, I'm like, how hard could it be?
Here's the thing, like, I feel like probably, yeah. Like, if you truly dedicate your life to like beating this one Mario level, I feel like one day you could do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That also brings me to another point. I have another comment from 5 years ago from a deleted account. No, I think this person probably got convicted of the murders they've done, because this person is like, here's how you could get out of it, essentially.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I enjoyed it a lot, but I do agree that some of the main guys' decisions were foolish. Spoilers. For instance, why didn't they just leave immediately after the incident? They could have destroyed the guns, so finding the bullets and burying the bodies wouldn't matter. So this guy is saying instead of doing anything with the bodies, just get rid of the weapons themselves. Which this guy doesn't elaborate how you would destroy guns.
Right.
Necessarily.
Yeah, how do you destroy a gun? I feel like guns are like
unknown.
Like you got to go to to fires of Mountain Doom.
I was gonna say you need like a forge to like burn them in or something.
Yeah.
Or like the deepest water to drop them in, I guess.
Right.
Even if it was smarter to bury the bodies, why didn't they just leave after that? Their motivation for sticking around confused me. Even if the villagers tied the incident to them after they left, there wouldn't be enough evidence to prosecute with, and they'd be away from danger.
There definitely would. Like there's so much circumstantial evidence.
Not to mention, like, I'm sure they could check their phones to see them like pinging off cell towers or something, or boot prints or tire tracks.
Oh
yeah. Also, they should have declined to help with the search party. That decision sealed their fate, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to decline. This person like doesn't understand social cues. This is one of our listeners, probably. The villagers would have had to either force them to go or let them leave. If they were forced to go, they could have just denied any allegations and threatened to ruin what was left of their tourism if they weren't released immediately.
Okay.
This person is like, I would have fucking flipped the script on them.
Yeah, like,
and then everybody would have applauded.
This person's like you looking at that Super Mario Maker level. Like, oh, I could beat this.
Basically, the whole situation could have been handled and the main guys were more stoic and the villagers weren't master detectives. Then another person says, it takes place in the UK. Guns are much higher regulated. There's definitely a paper trail connecting him to that gun, whether it is destroyed or not. But yeah, sticking around was stupid. Helping to look was also stupid. Never stick around a crime scene.
Okay.
Good advice, listeners.
Sounds like lived
I
experience.
didn't say it. They said it.
Yeah.
Deleted. If the murder weapon was missing, even if the caliber matched, they couldn't link the bullet to his specific gun without the rifling inside the barrel. The paper trail would just be circumstantial evidence.
These guys
I'm not in the legal profession, but I think this is a pretty hard crime to cover up.
You know what I think these guys are? I think these guys are lethal contrarians.
Yes.
I was
where it would literally kill these people to not be the devil's advocate. Or to like one up. Yeah.
I forgot to tell you this last time. I was in the sauna a few weeks back, and I heard these two like real estate bros from Calgary talking shop, dude.
I'm super curious to hear what they had to say.
And one of the boys was like, yeah, like they were talking about this guy at the office and how he's a lethal contrarian and how he actually had a take the other day that was like, it was pretty hot, but like it convinced him of something. It like changed his mind. And then he was like, yeah, we can't talk here though. I'll tell you after like we leave the sauna. And I'm still dying to know what that take was, dude. That's my white whale.
You're holding out your phone recording.
Dude, like
you're like just a little bit more audio.
I'm just obsessed with the idea of a lethal contrarian though. That phrase has been rent free.
That's a great phrase. I mean, that's a great podcast name too.
Lethal Contrarians?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the Red Scare podcast should change their name to.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I've been looking up those ladies since you mentioned them.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I've seen a few appearances of Anna Kachayan on some podcasts since you spoke to me about them.
Yeah, she's a real intellectual.
Yeah.
Just like the dumbest person.
Yeah, they're a little irritating, those broads.
Actually, I was going to say, I did take a little bit of inspiration. I think the Red Scare Pod subreddit is specifically named in my book in a couple instances, but my main character describes a female podcaster as somebody who was never told that she should shut the fuck up when she was being brought up by her parents. So my main character is saying like, you can tell like the household was way too permissive and they like indulged her and they should have just said, shut the fuck up.
Right.
And I was basing that very much on perceptions of the Red Scare podcast.
The vocal fry is crazy too. The vocal Costco fries, dude.
It's unbearable.
It's nuts.
It's well, I appreciate you doing the work, educating yourself about the important things of our times.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Should we cut to a quick break and then come back and give a rundown of this movie?
Yeah, let's do that.
Sweet.
Be right back.
Remember, don't stay around the scene of a crime.
Neither will we. We're fleeing the scene.
Welcome back. You just barely got your sunglasses on.
They almost saw my real face, dude.
They almost saw into your soul.
Oh, God.
Welcome back to the Lethal Contrarian podcast. And I know this is going to trigger some of you people, but I poured up a nice glass of whole milk.
Damn. Okay, take a swig. Take a big swig of that cup of joe. Oh, my God. How's that Moloco Plus treating you, brother?
Sharpening me up for video ultra-violence. It's we're broadcasting from the Korova Milk Bar. Also, when we were on break, we talked about many things, but you were telling me that now teachers are encouraged to like sit down with the student and be like, here's the grade I'm going to give you. And there's like a dialogue and then you give them the grade.
Yes, they are allowed to have they're allowed to give an input about their grade and provide rebuttals, and it's supposed to be a back and forth. It's supposed to be a conference.
Holy moly.
Yeah, dude, it's
what is going on in our schools?
Where were the parents at, man? Yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't subscribe to this philosophy.
Right.
I just tell the kid they're fucking great.
Well, you were saying you're also open if the student feels they truly deserved a different mark for them to explain their rationale behind the work and
exactly.
Maybe in the context of like English or writing where it's a bit more subjective, which I think is fair, but I don't think it should be the default that like, yeah, I was never fucking consulted. It's like you hand in the work and you get the grade. That is the transaction.
I personally don't see where the gray area might lie. Yeah, and as you said, yeah, like I give kids the opportunity to be like, hey, you guys can come at me. You can step to me if you'd like
Right.
at any given point. But like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you the grade, and I'm gonna
You-
step aside. And,
You come at the teacher, you best not miss. You make
yeah,
an example out of them.
dude. Should have better not miss.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, these are wild times.
These are wild times we're living in.
So anyway, back to Calibre.
Wild times make wild people, though.
And they truly did.
Wild times make wild guilos.
Well, it sounds like you have a real Drake and Travis Scott enthusiast who sent you coded messages in this essay or story.
I had a student submit a story where in the story he referenced, I would say, like 10 to 15 Drake songs. So like the titles of the songs were underlined. And then at the end of the story, he goes, by the way, all the underlined stuff were Drake song titles. And because he was talking about like the story was about him going to a Drake concert.
Did he do any of the timestamp songs where it's like 5 a.m. in Toronto,
He did.
4 p.m. and wherever?
I believe he did. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't want to open it now, but yeah, he did. He did one. He did one that was like a 9. Do you know one that with a 9 in it? 9 to.
Maybe that's from the recent album. To be honest, all those titles blend together for me.
Yeah, for sure.
All I can remember really is 5 a.m. in Toronto.
Yeah.
There's one in Dallas too, I think. 7 p.m. in Dallas?
Okay.
I don't know. Somebody's probably screaming at the podcast right now. Maybe young Michael is screaming at the podcast.
What time is it now? 6:18 in North Vancouver?
Yeah. It's dinner time.
It is
so
dinner
hungry
time.
for those fish and chips.
It's fish o'clock.
We just get fillet of fishes sent in. Sorry, fillet o fishes.
Please, yeah.
Call it by its Irish name.
Fillet of fish. Fillet of fish.
What about if a cop's arresting you and you're like, my name is Filet O Fish. Like, what's your name, son? Oh, fish. First name? Filet.
What's your order?
Where do you live? 1234 McDonald Street.
Hey, copper. What's your order?
Fish fillet. Okay, so Calibre. The inciting incident for this movie is two bros go on a hunting trip.
Yeah.
One of them doesn't really know how to hunt. What can go wrong?
Just two city guys
city slickers
going for a hunt. Going to what do they call it? Slaying? Stalking.
Yes.
So this is they're in Scotland.
Yes. And they go from, I don't know if it's ever said what the urban area they go from is, but they go into the Highlands.
Yes.
And they go to fictional locations, as we found out.
Yeah, they go to a small town in the Scottish Highlands.
Have you heard the song Try That in a Small Town? The country song that's
Oh,
been
yes,
widely
I did.
lambasted as being conservative and hate mongering.
Yes, I did. I hear all, yeah. I did.
Low key, it's kind of a banger. I think it's very stupid lyrically, but it does kind of get stuck in your head. And the whole time I was watching this last night, I was thinking like, yeah, try that in a small town. Accidentally shooting a kid, try that in a small town.
I'm more of a rich men north of Richmond type of guy.
Oh yeah, that's another very stupid recent country song.
Yes, that like Anthony Fantano, the needle drop, is
Internet's
reading
busiest
into
music nerd.
Yeah, reading into it way too much. Where he's like, well, he's talking about like the Mason-Dixon line, where it's like I think he's just talking about the people up north in DC.
Right.
I don't think he's like
making
a specific Confederate dog whistle, but I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it is supposed to be a dog whistle or if it's just supposed to refer to like the policymakers and like the politicians in society don't really understand the plight of like the working class in a lot of areas in the American South.
Listen,
which I think probably is true. Like there is quite a bit of poverty.
Yeah. West Virginia. Apparently, West Virginia is like pretty down in the dumps right now.
Yeah.
From my understanding, I think the crisis, the fentanyl crisis, is really hitting that place like very hard.
I think lack of steady job opportunities, opioid crisis, whole bunch of things.
Yeah, dog. But based on my the evidence of him on a Joe Rogan interview. The guy that did that song seems like a good guy. I don't think he's a weirdo, a right wing weirdo.
Well, I'm glad that he got together with the mind of our time, Joe Rogan.
The dome of our time.
I'm sure between the two of them, they managed to put together at least one sentence. So
what do they call? What's the Israel, like the defense
the
dome?
Iron Dome.
The Iron Dome, dude.
Joe Rogan's fucking head. Yeah, it's crazy how much his head has grown from HGH.
Yeah, bro.
I don't know. You read some good stuff about human growth hormone online that's like, look at some of the before and after pictures.
Yes. Yeah.
Because like it makes all of you grow. Your organs, your head.
Right.
Yeah, maybe not great. But I have heard that like the needle that you inject with is so thin it just like goes into your stomach and you don't feel anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I don't really like needles, so that's kind of what's stopping me from doing steroids. One of the reasons.
You don't like the needle drop?
Okay, here's my thing. I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast. If there's a scene of somebody getting their blood drawn, like in a medical context, I'm totally fine with it. And like I have no fear of getting my blood drawn or like an IV put in or anything. But a scene where somebody is shooting up drugs, I like can't watch that.
Oh,
especially when they often do a close up of like blood going back into the plunger. Something about that is so gross to me. I like can't watch it. But I can watch Terrifier 2. I can watch people like being butchered and dismembered and stuff, and I'm like, that's fine. But something about people putting a needle into themselves is,
dude,
something about it is so gross and visceral.
I'm the exact same. I hate when they tie like the scene of them tying it up too. Like for some reason, the tying it up and like just I don't like that either, dude. I was
folks, don't do drugs. Keep streaming Netflix.
Yeah, dude.
Probably don't do steroids.
We're talking
Wink.
to you.
I mean, unless you want to. In one case, why shouldn't
unless you want to get hot and huge.
Yeah.
Then do
unless you want to get horrific back knee, murderous mood swings, grow breast tissue as a male, then, you know.
Dude, speaking of being squeamish, I had a procedure done on me the other day where they stuck a camera in my dick hole.
Whoa.
And they looked around my bladder.
Folks, this was not scripted. I did not know it was going to go here. Whoa.
And the doctor, when that was happening to me.
So like a catheter type?
No, I don't know exactly.
I've had a catheter in the hospital before, and it is not fun when they pull that out.
I don't think it's a catheter. I think it was like it was like a microscopic camera.
Whoa.
So they froze my tubes, and then they I don't know how they did it. They just put a bunch of water there, and maybe it was part of the water.
Sorry, they froze your tubes. Like they somehow numbed you.
Yeah, they numbed the dick hole.
Whoa.
That's right, man.
My dick's become so numb. Whoa. Okay. So they
be what you want me to be.
So you didn't feel it when it went up your pee hole?
Oh, I felt it, man. It was still it was rough. The doctor was like, "You want to check out like the inside of your bladder, dude? Check this shit out." I was like, "Dude, I can't." I was so That's why this reminded me of it. I was like, "Dude, I cannot look at what's going on in there."
Yeah, I would also choose to not view.
Dude, he wanted me to confront my prostate. I couldn't do it. I could not confront my prostate.
That was part of your hero's journey.
Yeah, bro.
But hopefully everything was good.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. You seen him? Yeah, he said I'm cool.
Well,
if
he's seen the footage,
he gave me the go ahead. He said you can pod. This is a medical examination.
You're cleared to pod.
I'm cleared to pod.
People don't know we get a full physical before every podcast.
That's right.
We run on the treadmill with like the VO2 mask or whatever to make sure we're cleared for podcasting.
Yeah, bro. Anyway.
Damn, dude. Well, I'm hoping I don't need to get anything up my dick for a while.
Right. Involuntarily.
Yeah, I mean, of course I'll choose to, but
yeah. What was that video? Remember that video that was going around when we were like in high school of wasn't it a dude that stuck like a knife in his dick hole? Do you remember that one?
I've never seen that one.
It was like
I somehow escaped that one.
It was one of those like classic, it was like a meat spin. Remember meat spin?
I do remember meat spin.
Was it meat spin?
Are you actually gonna look this up right now? You're zoomed in like 500 times on your screen.
Hold on. Video what was your favorite one of those,
George?
videos?
I feel like every time you come over, your laptop is like 40% off the couch cushion and you're zoomed in like 500% looking up shock videos. We don't need to do this. So anyway, Calibre. I would say this was super well filmed.
What's the caliber of your dick hole?
357, baby. Desert Eagle. Super well filmed, and I was kind of craving like a movie set in a small town, to be honest. Try that in a small town.
Yeah, man.
And kind of like a wintry vibe. Dude, what the fuck are you looking up?
I'm sorry.
You're hovering over gory footage.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
Dude, stop it. You don't need to find this.
Fine. I guess I don't.
I think you can do this independently.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really like the setting of this movie, the way it was filmed. We have those classic horror movie shots of like cars down lonely roads.
Yes.
And just every additional scene in this movie kind of posed a new problem for our two leads.
It was very tight. It was tight
very
movie.
tight.
Mm-hmm.
And it did make me think like an exercise in screenwriting where it's so tightly done. Every element pays off. Every scene introduces a new obstacle. Just when they think they've addressed one thing, another thing pops up. And it's like the tension gets wound tighter and tighter.
Totally. It doesn't dilly-dally very much.
So,
and I really like the premise, like the inciting incident, as you called it, is such a simple one, but it's like, it seems like this, it's one of those where it's like, there's no way this premise hasn't been in a movie before, but like, yeah, I don't think it has. It's so simple, but
I've seen other like accidental killing type movies.
Yeah.
Have you seen Super Dark Times?
No.
It's a good one.
I mean, I've seen Super Dark Times.
Somebody may or may not get accidentally killed with a sword that they're playing with in that movie.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. But it's
just
a
the
premise.
specific way that this person gets accidentally. It's just something that is so, just true to life. Like this could potentially happen. I think
it's so stressful because you're watching it and it's so plausible that you can't help but think like, what would I do in that situation?
Exactly. That's the thing. It feels so realistic. They do such a good job at. Honestly, listen. This may be a hot take. This might be a little too spicy for the listeners, even for you, perhaps. But I think, look, I'm going to be a lethal contrarian on this one. I think this is one of the most stressful movies I've ever seen. Maybe even more stressful than Uncut Gems.
Whoa,
dude, I was stressed TF out.
Because I was thinking, Uncut Gems is definitely one of the more stressful ones I've seen. The movie White Lie, which is like a Canadian indie movie about a girl who is faking having cancer, is very stressful. This was, I mean, I was almost pacing at one point.
Yeah, dude. It really was getting to me, dude. It was really getting under my skin. It's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah. I don't even know if we mentioned it, but so yeah, these two city bros, they go into town to do small town to do some hunting in the woods, and
one of them is kind of like the reckless single one. The other has a fiance who is pregnant, so this is kind of pitched almost as like not a bachelor party, but kind of like you won't have the freedom to go out and fuck around and do this soon.
Yes.
So they're gone for a couple days. Marcus brings a giant bag of cocaine for one person for 2 nights. I'm like, this guy fucking rocks.
I'm glad that you can speak to. I wasn't sure if that was like an appropriate amount.
I would say from having seen people do it, that is quite a bit.
Okay.
So it rocks that this guy relapses on coke. He ignores every warning not to fuck this girl at the bar.
Yes.
He goes into a small town. He's like, everybody's telling me not to do something. I'm just going to do it. Definitely this won't come back to haunt me. Yeah, this dude rocks.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah, I love just all the whole politics that they set up in this small town where it's like it's not a mayor per se, but it's just like the chief, just
the guy,
just the dude, who is, what's his name again?
Well, there are two guys. The redhead who's friendly to them at first, and then the guy who fucking hates them.
Yes.
I think Brian is the guy who hates them.
I think the redhead
is the father of Kara, right?
Yeah, the girl that
Marcus ends up banging.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, we're back. We had some slight technical difficulties. Perhaps someone didn't charge the camera battery enough. We won't name names. This person's name rhymes with Ratrick.
You certainly were a dirty rat trick.
Look, I'm talking to you, the viewers and listeners. I'm not perfect. I'm not God. I do sometimes make mistakes.
I am a god.
Hurry up with my damn croissant. hurry up with my damn pod.
Dude, my blood is chock full of omega 3s. We just we had to step out for a second.
Yeah.
We got too stressed with the camera, with the technology not working. We needed some fish. We needed some omega 3 oils. Yeah, man, that was a very nice fish dinner.
That was awesome. We walked through the pouring fucking rain for that.
Yeah, dude, we swam to get to that fish.
And then swam back to finish this pod.
Through the ocean. We went, it was like a Super Mario level out there.
It was.
Like a water level.
Hate a water level. It was like the deepest breath out there.
It was.
We had no dive tanks.
We free dove to the restaurant.
Pretty much.
Those oysters were nice, though.
Oh man,
they were nice with it.
Those were very kind.
They were kind.
Haven't had oysters in a while. As we ordered them, I'm like, wait, aren't there certain months where like your risk of contracting something from oysters gets way higher?
Oh, is that right?
Pretty sure we're in those months, but
the darkest month.
Whatever.
The coldest month.
Memories made in the coldest winter. So yeah, Calibre, boys trip. I was thinking if they just went on a fishing trip, they could have avoided everything in this movie.
Well, what if they like accidentally like launched a reel or whatever, launched a line, and then they maybe hit a child in the eye, and
they pull up the line and there's just a kid on
it. There's just a kid. They slowly release it back into the water. Yeah, man, you're right. A lot could have been avoided if they had just, dude. I mean, you can't help it. Sometimes you get into a meat eater loop on YouTube. So you start getting obsessed with the big game, brother.
Okay, tell me about meat eater.
Okay, let me tell you about
what goes on this one.
Okay, Steven Rinella, renowned Rogan guest, multiple-time Rogan guest, Steven Rinella, goes on. Yeah, he just hunts. He hunts game, man. He doesn't even discriminate. Big game, small game.
Does he hunt people? The most dangerous game.
He has.
I want somebody to go on Rogan and be like, I've hunted and eaten a human before.
Yes. He has not. He's not ready for the most dangerous game yet. He's hunted somewhat dangerous game, bears,
okay,
turkeys, ducks. He's done spear fishing. His favorite animal to hunt is the mule deer.
So why is that his favorite?
There's just something about it.
He just likes killing them.
I forget why it's his favorite, but I think on the last episode, because they're releasing, the new season is slowly getting released on. It's a slow drip on YouTube right now.
Okay.
And the last episode or 2 episodes ago, I think, was mule deer, and him and this like other hunter, because he usually invites a guest to like go hunt with him. And they haven't killed a kid accidentally yet, well, so things have been going well.
That's a good track record.
Yeah, but
I think once you do that, your YouTube show will probably get demonetized. I can't imagine that would reflect well on the ad revenue.
No, but anyway, him and his like guest had a big argument about like what the best game is, and the guest was saying like moose is the best, and he was saying no, mule deer. I think mule deer is. Anyway, I don't know. I something about the show. I don't know. Like I have no interest in. I'm not a right-wing nut, dude. I have no interest.
Famously hung up your gun after biathlon.
I did, man.
Yeah, you have no continuing interest in guns.
No, exactly. No. And I had nearly no interest in guns even at that time. Like I was
a scheme.
I was literally just in it for the love of the game.
Right.
And so I don't know why I'm so obsessed with the show, but I just fucking love it.
Interesting. Well,
I love the mechanism of hunting, because every animal is different. Sometimes they use like a hunting call. Some animals will take like the methodology of the hunt is very interesting.
And like sometimes you have to sit there for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's patience.
And just the excitement of spotting that animal is like really, really cool. And then going and stalking it and
being a stalker.
Yeah,
and I'm sure
sometimes you get winded.
I'm sure in Meat Eater, the guy does not make the mistake of aiming for the head instead of center mass.
No, never. Everyone knows you got to aim for the organs, the heart.
Vaughn, who is hungover and bad at hunting and using a gun he's not legally allowed to use, Marcus insists that Vaughn takes the killing shot, and Vaughn aims for the head of the deer, which as I was watching, I was like, wait a minute, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And then all the big brains on Reddit were like, he shouldn't have done that.
Here's the thing. Way too small of a target.
Yes.
It's not. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Not good.
And also, I don't think it's legal to hunt deer with a 22 because it's inhumane, right? Like, it's not powerful enough to kill them in many instances, so it'll make them suffer. That's what people were saying. I don't know if that's like a UK thing or not, but
interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
But then, wait, why would they have been taking a gun if they weren't even legally allowed to hunt with it?
Yeah,
I don't know. We were also debating before the episode started: were they or were they not supposed to be hunting where they were? Because I'm still a little unclear. Marcus is saying to Logan, "Oh, my dad knows Lord whoever and has cleared up that we're going to be hunting on this land." It's like, we never see this happen. Is that just bullshit?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't fucking know.
Is this just a cocaine fever dream that Marcus had? Does he even have a dad?
Right.
Is there even a Lord?
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe he's a bit of an unreliable narrator.
It's very likely there's no Lord. I mean, are Lords even still around? Like, I guess maybe in the UK, right?
They have all sorts of bullshit.
Yeah.
I was laughing as well at the moment when Kara and Iona walk into the bar. The way Marcus is just like head on a swivel, because I feel like I've been in that moment before where it's like there's no attractive women whatsoever in a bar, and then like one or two walk in, and it's like somebody can be talking, like you could be talking to me, and my ears would just be ringing, and I wouldn't hear a word, and I'd be like, "Let's go."
You go full Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. Yes. So that was a very realistic portrayal.
Well, they do the same thing because it's like they've been living in this small town their whole lives, and it's like, oh, there's two hot city twats.
Yeah,
that just
two
came
IPA
into our bar,
type fellas,
and they are instantly like sitting with them and like buy us a drink.
They very aggressively approach.
Yeah,
and yeah, it did make me laugh because if I was in a small town that I've never been to. And like the bald guy, as soon as he's on screen, it's like, okay, this guy's going to be a problem. And he's just like a psycho. Yeah. And then another guy comes up to warn Marcus, like, stay away from that woman. It's your own funeral.
Yeah.
At that point, I would completely disengage. Like,
yes,
I'm going to get killed by small town folk here.
Absolutely.
It's not worth it. But Marcus is like, nah, I'm different. Which I do respect.
I'm gonna be burned on an effigy.
Yeah, sure. Totally.
If I F this girl, I'm gonna be an effigy. Yo, I gotta
send that to Kanye.
Yo, I need to release a Drake type poetry book. I
think. I truly think anybody could write a Drake book.
I really think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if any of our listeners are interested in buying the Drake poetry book for over $250, hit me up.
You want to sell your copy?
I'd like to, but it's not valuable enough yet because they're being listed for about 100.
You think
Grailed?
You think it'll appreciate in value?
I think so.
Yeah,
because it's like kind of a weird collector's item. Like I think there'll never be any more.
Yeah,
actually, I was dangerously close to getting some free magazines the other day. So, Forever magazine, which is like a young hip, like couple-year-old lit magazine out of New York, run by these three young women. They somehow, Montreal and shipping things is somehow like the Bermuda Triangle because they accidentally sent a bunch of copies of their latest magazine to Montreal.
Oh,
and they're like, any of our Canadian friends who want free magazines, like DM us. And I'm like, I'm a Canadian friend. I want free magazines. And they got back to me right away on this account. They're like, hey, yeah, here's the address in Montreal. Like, there are 200 magazines. Go take as many as you like.
The hell?
And I'm like, oh, man, I love the magazine, but unfortunately, I'm in Vancouver, so thanks anyway.
Whoa.
And then I was racking my brain. I'm like, I don't know anyone in Montreal who could go snag these for me. But it's like I was looking into buying some issues of Forever magazine. And it's like $20 per magazine, but then it would be like $20 in shipping as well to get to Vancouver. So I'm like, $40 for this is pretty steep.
Wow. And so, okay, interesting.
But yeah, these
is Forever magazine just dedicated to the Drake song?
Forever, shit forever, man, ever, man, ever, man.
Whose song is that?
Well, the historians have debated.
Wow.
Because I would say all 4 verses are very memorable.
Yeah, I know.
But that was like a big early career high for Drake being on that song with Wayne, Kanye, and Eminem.
I think that is a Drake song, right?
It kind of is. He goes first. He sets the tone.
He goes first. Last name ever. First name greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
last name Cast, first name Pod. And then I was also thinking, I'm like, damn, if I could get this huge box of Forever magazine, I bet I could flip some of them in the future. I'm on the come up. Trying to flip stuff.
Last name Boy, first name Fish.
That's us. You know the serial killer Albert Fish?
That's right, yeah.
You should look that guy up sometime.
Man.
He was a wild ass white boy.
Was he a fishy lad?
He I think he put like needles in his penis and stuff.
Really?
He did all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
Really?
look him up, folks.
Needles in his penis.
He was a freaky boy.
Is he just trying to get more like, so that when he pees, maybe it's just like quicker, so that because it comes out of more holes?
I'm not sure what his end game was. I think he was just like a very severe sadomasochist.
You don't think he was trying to min-max his piss game?
I don't think there was any like performance enhancing aspects. I think he just it's like the Johnny Cash song, I hurt myself today. I needled my penis today to see if I still feel. You know that song.
You know the one.
The cover of the Nine Inch Nails song.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting way off track. What are we trying to say about Calibre here? Aside from we liked it and it's good.
Okay, so these two, the two city lads hook up with some town sluts.
And you said it, not me. So our protagonist Vaughn chooses to not actually consummate anything with Iona.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Marcus and Kara go off to do, well, apparently cocaine, which is a huge plot point later that everybody in the town is so mad at him for giving her cocaine. It's like, but she took it.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think he made her do it at gunpoint. At 22 point.
I heard an episode of Stuff You Should Know once where one of the hosts was like, how does like do a perfect like Michael Caine? You have to.
Oh, you say my cocaine.
My cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He gave her some Michael Caine. He gave her that Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And dude, the townsfolk.
The town is
were irate about that.
So then, what did you also think about Iona leaning in for a kiss and Vaughn being like, I have a fiance and a baby? It's like, you chose to reveal that awfully late in the game.
So late in the game, dude. He withheld.
Because I thought
so long.
He seemed like kind of a nervous Nelly. I thought he would say that right at the table in the bar.
Yeah, right.
He's also like dancing with an old woman at the bar. He's kind of loose.
Well, I think he was trying to sort of maintain the hope and the fantasy of that for as long as he could, right?
Of course.
He was edging.
He was
edging. That's right.
But he eventually comes clean.
Edge of tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they do it over and over and over again. Yeah.
So they go hunting the next day. They're fucking hungover. Motherfuckers doing my cocaine in the car
because Vaughn is very hungover and Marcus is chipper.
Yeah.
And then Vaughn's like, "Wait, no, you said you would quit. You're doing it again."
Yeah.
And Marcus is like, "I'm with the boys." And it's like least intoxicated British person on holiday.
Absolutely.
So already it's like you're seeing the red flags. Like, okay, one guy's doing drugs, the other's hungover, doesn't really know how to use a gun, and they forget the ammo for the specific gun that Vaughn is legally allowed to use. So they end up loading up the 22.
Yeah.
And he tries to get a headshot on this deer. Deer moves at the last moment, and he shoots a boy who is standing like in the distance behind the deer.
Yeah. A very visible boy in a very bright blue parka somehow appears in his sights.
Yeah.
And he shoots him square in the forehead. So,
well, he does get a headshot, just not the one he was trying to get.
Yes. And he goes to confirm the kill because you always gotta.
Yes.
You gotta get the dog tags. And his dad is there.
Yes. So at first, both of the main characters find the boy. They're panicked. They don't know what the fuck is going on. And then they hear a father or a man's voice calling for the boy.
Yeah.
And the father ends up approaching. Marcus has left the scene. The father sees what's happened. He grabs the gun that's like on the forest floor, confronts Vaughn.
It gets
And
a
then
little,
obviously, like, Marcus pops him from a distance.
yeah.
So now
Duh.
they have two bodies.
My question for you was, do you think that was the right? Do you think he would have shot him?
Okay, so I was also deep in the Reddit on this. Somebody was saying that type of gun, you would need to load each bullet individually. So, like, the gun would have been empty and he couldn't have shot
Okay.
Vaughn or something. I don't know if that's a quirk of the UK that the only, like, hunting guns you're allowed to use, like, you have to chamber each round individually.
Yeah.
It's not just, like, a clip or whatever feeding
Right.
into it. So,
Right.
I guess the 4D chess answer is maybe he couldn't have actually shot, but of course, Marcus might not know that in the heat of the moment or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
I think he probably would have tried to shoot Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus is much like Ben Affleck in Triple Frontier, where he just shoots.
Right. He just goes.
He just goes. Yeah, man, it becomes very stressful because this is like minute 15, maybe.
For sure.
We're pretty quick in the movie. We're
For
no
sure.
more than like 20 minutes in.
Totally.
So then the question becomes, well, now we're guilty of manslaughter and more manslaughter, arguably just slaughter.
boy slaughter.
Boy slaughter and manslaughter.
Yeah.
So they decide we're going to have to keep this fucking secret.
Yeah. Well, Vaughn the whole time is like, we should just fess up.
Yeah. And Marcus points out, well, you were using my gun, which is a crime in and of itself. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I'm high.
Yeah.
We're drunk.
You're drunk. Yeah.
Like, we're going to get.
Are you high right now? Do you ever shoot civilians?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, we're going to get like many, many years for this if we confess. And so they choose not to.
And that's where the problem starts.
And I think we could just kind of cut a little bit to them, like just burying they bury the bodies.
Yeah, so they realize, okay, we have to hunt somewhere else. I think they fire more shots maybe, or they go hunt somewhere else just to like have an alibi. Yeah. And they have to look like nothing unusual happened.
Yeah, so they try to make it look like they were never there.
So they go back to the hotel and they end up being called by Logan to have dinner in the restaurant, and they're with Logan and the gray-haired guy whose name I forget. Mm-hmm. It's not Brian, it's like a different gray-haired guy.
I forget.
Who's one of Logan's relatives or friends. Anyway, sure. Obviously it's tough to act normal at this point.
Yeah.
And then they end up taking their car out again after dinner to go back to the spot with a shovel to bury the bodies.
Yeah.
Because I guess the reasoning is, okay, if we can bury the bodies, if they're hidden, you know, if they're found in the future, more people will have come through here, been shooting. We won't necessarily be the suspects.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, according to the great minds of Reddit, they should have just, quote unquote, destroyed the guns.
Right. Which we were like, what does that even look like? Like,
right.
How can you even destroy a gun? I thought did we talk about this already? I think we talked about this already.
We did.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
So much has happened before we had fish.
Yeah. We lived a whole life.
Yeah, man.
Pre and post fish.
Yeah.
So they end up burying the bodies, and then Marcus cuts the bullet out of the boy's head.
Yeah, it's pretty twisted.
So
because he has to get rid of the bullets,
Marcus is saying this bullet is like a fingerprint, which we don't really get that, do we?
We don't get that. I don't even know. Like, are we meant to believe that he actually knows what he's talking about or not? Because
I don't know.
Because I think it's not unreasonable.
He seems like a bit of a bullshitter.
Exactly. I think it's not unreasonable to say, like, probably he doesn't even really know how this works, and in his mind, he thinks that this bullet can be traced to his gun, like, very easily.
Right.
So anyway, it's
also like, yeah, maybe we're not the gun experts. We need a firearm expert on the show. But my understanding is, like,
at all times,
you can trace a bullet. Well, I don't know. Doesn't a gun have like certain powder or like residue after it's been fired? Like, can't the police find out if your gun's been fired recently?
Yes. So, like, I mean, I think they could trace a bullet.
And through all the context clues about you guys are the people in town with these guns hunting here.
Anyway, they could probably trace the bullet to a gun. They probably couldn't just find a bullet and say Marcus and Vaughn shot this kid. But like,
all
it's
the
just
other circumstantial pieces of evidence would very much point to them.
But I guess it is another circumstantial piece of evidence that could, in their heads, this could be a factor in them going down for this. So
I'd like to hear from any listeners who have cleaned up crime scenes like Mike from Breaking Bad. What would you have done? Listeners,
you got to melt them in acid, I think.
Yeah,
according to Breaking Bad logic.
Oh, maybe they could have got a vat of acid and destroyed the guns.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's like this movie becomes so stressful because everything they're trying to do to cover their trail, it's like, oh my god, like the bloody knife and like backpack in the truck end up becoming a plot point later on. It's just everything goes wrong. You
know what they should have done? They should have listened to Eminem's album Music to Be Murdered By.
They should have.
I bet there's a lot of really good like information about what to do in this exact scenario.
It's not music to beat a murder charge to.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So maybe the boy was listening to it as he was walking behind the deer.
You're right. You think he was asking for it? You think this was suicide by Hunter? Suicide by drug hunter.
You can tell that boy had a deep sadness in his eyes. He yearned for the grave.
He's like, I fucking hate hiking with my dad. Just kill me. Just off me. And living in this village sucks. There's like 2 hot chicks.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
One of them's boning this big city cokehead.
Yeah, sucks. No one lets me do coke. I fucking hate this.
Just fucking sucks.
Just off me.
Also, when they were saying like, oh, these people, because the boy and the dad had like camping gear, right? Like campers backpacks.
Yeah.
And their reasoning was like, oh, they're just tourists. Nobody will be looking for them. I'm like, nah, that's not going to be the case. And then later in the movie, you find out they are relatives of Logan.
Yeah. So
of course, I'm like, there's no way these guys are tourists not associated with anybody in the town.
So when all the townspeople get wind through like the dead dude's wife that like, oh, they're not home when they said they were supposed to be home, like they were camping over the weekend or whatever, and they're not back yet. Kind of weird. The townsfolk start to get very very antsy, very suspicious. And like, what's also going on?
Marcus sleeping with Kara against medical advice, against the advice of the townspeople
of Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, comes back to haunt him because the townspeople actually end up knifing the tires of his Jeep when it's revealed that, like, I guess he gave her coke and he treated her pretty coldly when he bumped into her again. So I think that's kind of what, as soon as he did that, I'm like, this is all going to come back to bite you.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Good catch. Because that may have been a factor.
I think that very much was.
I didn't even think about that.
Kara and Iona are like, oh, you guys are back. Like, let's have drinks again tonight. And instead of being friendly and normal, he like almost completely ignores her. He's like, no, can't do it tonight. Another time. It just walks by. And then she's kind of offended, and I assume.
Yeah, good catch. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Well, so yeah, the townsfolk sort of
treated him like West Elm Caleb.
I know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh my god,
what is this,
dude? Oh, man, I want to have West Elm Caleb on the pod. West Elm, if you're listening, we support you. He's a dude who was exposed in early 2022 for basically being a serial ghoster of women. Like in Manhattan.
Okay.
So like,
you told me about this guy.
Not like a sex criminal, not an abuser. I mean, not like a hero. I don't think he's a good guy. However, I would say he conducts himself in a similar way to many young women I've encountered on dating apps. But just the idea. So basically all these women, I think, connected through TikTok and realized, oh, this guy's been like taking all of us out, or like
the bitch is unionized.
There was some detail about like, oh, he shared the same playlist with all of us. It's like, yeah, it's called scaling an enterprise.
Yeah.
Silly. Yeah. He's not going to make a custom playlist for every broad. You get the same playlist and you say, I've never felt this way. Check out my playlist.
Right.
Anyway, they treated him like a monster, and I'm like, he's just a guy.
Yeah.
Also, they should have known better when they saw his fucking hipster mustache.
Yes.
Also, the tabby swiper, hipster mustache, me, hipster mustache. Do you see a common theme here? Actually, did the Tinder swindler have a mustache?
No, I think he was clean shaven.
No, okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate issue. But anyway, I think the West Elm Caleb thing was blown way out of proportion. And I saw articles being like, oh, he's love bombing these women. It's like, I saw the transcripts. Like, No, he's not.
Love bombing. Oh,
I saw this super funny thing. It was a Reddit post where it's like, how do I know what love bombing is versus just like normal affection?
yeah.
And then someone commented and they're like, if the person is saying things like, within a week of meeting you, like, you're the best sex I've ever had, I've been waiting my whole life to meet someone like you, all these things. Then someone responded, but what if I am the best sex they've ever had? And what if they have been waiting their whole life to meet me? And I'm like, damn. It's all just a matter of perspective.
God.
Anyway, I think love bombing is almost entirely meaningless as a term. Like
Right.
gaslighting.
Yeah, like I was just gonna say gaslighting. Yeah. You know,
I think
when a new buzzword like gets invented, gets coined, and then like everyone just overuses it for every little thing.
Yeah.
It's like every time you lie now it's gaslighting.
Yeah, and
Why
it's
can't
like,
I just fucking
no,
lie?
it's not. Most
Yeah.
people are just lying.
Yeah.
Gaslighting is like a very specific pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just dumb and lie when
Yeah.
they're caught.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're trying to like destabilize your view of reality.
Exactly.
Most people are not that smart or calculated.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Exactly.
I want to be on this couch. Picture me, West Elm Caleb, you, the Tabby Swiper, and the
my
Tinder
God.
Swindler.
Oh my god, dude.
It's the
That's
most evil podcast to ever
You know-
exist.
you know what you call that? Summit.
A summit.
G7, baby.
Top G summit.
Top G7.
Fuck it, we'll get Andrew Tate in there too.
Fucking that as well.
Tristan Tate as well. We're opening the floodgates. So yeah, they basically end up having to spend more time in the village than they wanted, and just like everything is becoming more incriminating.
And everything's just like village law. Like they don't have any police force to speak. Like there is no legal entity anywhere in this village. Like everything just gets done with like crazy folk laws.
With just like the three dudes who run this shit.
Yeah, dude.
And also there's a lot of reference to like this festival that's upcoming, which made me think like, oh, are we going in like a weird horror direction?
Which I
But
almost
it
like
appears
that.
to be kind of just a normal celebration.
Yeah, which I almost kind of liked. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's because the thing is, there is the idea of like these townsfolk taking the law into their own hands. Is sort of this like
Yeah.
weird, folky, creepy thing in and of itself.
Mhm.
So playing into that idea with like this potentially creepy festival, I think was
Yeah.
very clever.
Yeah.
Almost like sleight of hand, but like there is still that element in this town, that kind of creepy folk element.
Things could go south.
Yeah.
It's pretty isolated.
Yeah.
So the Jeep eventually gets fixed, but they are recording. All right, folks, we're having some severe battery life problems here. Every piece of electronics in my life is falling apart. Let's just get to the end. So the search party uncovers the corpses. The boys try to flee.
They're unsuccessful.
And Vaughn ends up being pitted against Marcus and told basically, if you shoot your friend
You can leave.
and live with the consequences, you can leave. And
Yeah.
he hesitates, but headshots him.
The implication is that Vaughn was a better guy, and I think a lot of the townspeople saw that, and he owned up to his crimes.
Right.
Whereas I think Marcus, I don't think that he was as he went down as easily as Vaughn did. Like Vaughn was
Yes.
pretty ready to be like to just fully Heisenberg it, like you got me.
Yeah.
He really, that's kind of what he wanted all along, is he wanted to own up to his crimes.
Mhm.
Whereas Marcus was really the guy pushing for like, we got to cover this up.
Right.
We have to do everything we can not to get outed.
Right.
And I think so. Yeah. So then I think the townspeople in Logan like really saw that, and so that, and they knew that Vaughn had a baby on the way as well.
Yes.
And
so I think that's also why they spared him.
Yeah, and so they gave him the opportunity to stay alive, but having to live with having killed his friend.
Yes. And then Vaughn gets picked up by his fiance, who I think is kind of weirded out and unimpressed. And then sometime later, we see
She
him-
never finds out though.
She never finds out, but she does give him a meaningful glance at the end of the movie where it's like, I think she knows something strange transpired.
Yes.
Because the narrative that he's trying to sell is like, oh, Marcus just took off after
Yeah.
we had a fight or whatever.
Yeah.
So the townsfolk, I guess, are going to cover up all these deaths.
Yeah.
And then Vaughn gets to go back to his life. The final shot is him basically staring straight into the camera, like so.
Yeah. Just INTJ stare into the
Which
cam.
I think is kind of a weak ending.
Totally.
It doesn't really, I
It's a
feel like I
cop-out.
need a bit of a final twist. Maybe they go to a baseball game, for instance, 11 years later. But yeah,
Maybe.
that's the movie. I really enjoyed it.
I loved it. Yeah,
This was your pick. I
My
don't know
pick.
if I think we established that. But yeah,
I did.
good
that.
pick.
I did
Good
that.
pick.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't know exactly what we'll do for next week. Man, I've been watching so many Wes Anderson movies. I wish I had more Netflix originals.
Dude, yeah, you're in it, dude. You're
I
in the
am the
Andes.
life aquatic.
You're living the life aquatic. Your life is aquatic.
When he says
our life was aquatic
when
tonight.
Bill Murray says in the life aquatic, I know I haven't been at my best for this past decade. I'm like, damn, I felt that.
Dude, yeah, the Spanish David Bowie songs. I mean,
It rocks.
good movie.
The drip is incredible. I think maybe I'll do that next Halloween.
I was gonna say I kind of want to go as a Wes Anderson character.
If anyone has a college party full of artsy hipster girls to invite me to, let's go and dress up as Wes Anderson characters.
Dress up as Rushmore.
Dude, the kid in Rushmore has the weirdest riz ever.
For sure.
It's very troubling and bizarre.
Unsettling riz.
Yeah, my computer is making noises like it's going to explode, so I think we're gonna end this recording and see if our YouTube upload works.
Yes. Sorry if this is a shorter one than usual. We're embattled with tech today.
We're embattled on all fronts: technological, spiritual, psychological.
Yeah.
I think there are demons inside all of my electronics.
It's very possible. We're fighting a two-front war. Never a success. Hitler couldn't do it. It doesn't work.
No. Us fighting against Netflix is like trying to do a land war on Russia.
That's right.
All right, loyalists. Thanks for tapping in. Bye.
Bye.